Mechanicsburg Area School District Board of Directors are being recorded and live streamed for the purpose of transparency and increased public access. The live stream, along with recordings from previously held meetings, can be found on the school board's YouTube channel. It's time if we all would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time we'll have a brief moment of silent meditation. Mr. Longwell, roll call.
Mr. Bradley?
Here.
Mr. Frangel?
Here.
Mrs. Huff? Mr. Kickline?
Here.
Dr. Lebo?
Here.
Ms. Morgan?
Here.
Dr. Rhodes?
Present.
Mr. Sanker?
Here.
And Mr. Rupp.
Here. Endorsement of agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda, Mr. Longwell?
There are no changes, Mr. Rupp, and the agenda will otherwise stand as written.
Thank you. Reading of the minutes of the regular board meeting of April 9th, 2024. Do any directors have any additions or changes to the meetings of April 9th? Seeing none, will be accepted as printed. Move on to item 2, hearing of visitors. There will be 2 opportunities for public comment this evening. As a reminder, public comment is limited to residents of the school district. At this time, we have reached the first opportunity for public comment. This opportunity is reserved for comments related to items that are listed on the agenda for a vote. The second opportunity for public comment will occur at the end of the meeting. The second opportunity for public comment is reserved for comments on issues not listed on the agenda and not being voted upon. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per individual and requires community members to observe a reasonable decorum. If you'd like to address the board, please share your name and the municipality in which you reside. Any members of the public have any public comment on items being voted on at tonight's meeting? Seeing none, item 3, reports and presentations. Item 3.01, Superintendent of Schools report, Dr. Leidy.
Good evening, everybody. I have the distinct pleasure tonight of beginning the recognition of some of our outstanding student athletes who have represented Mechanicsburg beautifully at the state level. As the board knows, we take the opportunity a couple times a year to recognize those athletes who have made it to state level competition, and Mr. Bohannick has become a regular here as part of these presentations. So thank you, sir. We'll turn it over to you.
Appreciate you guys having me. It's been a fun little tradition we've started here the last couple of years. When we think about some of the investment that we've made as a district the last 5, 6, 7 years, it has created many opportunities for our athletes, which in turn has created a lot of success. So there's a lot of reasons I think we've had some success here over the years, but your investment in them, I think of the Wildcat Activity Center was built 5 years ago, and there's no doubt that these kids have benefited from that. These are the ages where they're starting to come through, where they have that opportunity in elementary and middle school. So these kind of things I know you make these decisions, and then they're probably 7 years ago when we got approval, but these are the kind of things that we're reaping the benefits of. So I just wanted to make note of that. So we have 3 groups here tonight. The first group that I'm going to allow to speak is our coach. You guys approved, gave us the green light to have the opportunity to have a girls wrestling program. It did not look like a normal girls wrestling program as far as we didn't have 25 wrestlers. We only had 2 at the high school level, but 1 in particular had a lot of success. So I'm going to let Coach Dave Heckard speak on her behalf.
I'm not Callie. No, I thank you guys for doing this. It's extremely nice for you guys to do this. And Callie reached out to me this morning, just to let you know the kind of person that we're dealing with here. She's competing in a state wrestling tournament this weekend, and she practices Tuesday and Wednesday. Well, tomorrow night she gets inducted into the Spanish National Honor Society, and she's like, Coach, I can't prepare for the state tournament this weekend and not go to practice. So you know, that's why she's not here. So there's no excuse, just more justification than anything. But incredible young lady, and just makes the most of her opportunities, and you know, is a leader on the team as a female, and is outstanding. Was awarded this year the MVP of our team. I mean, just unbelievable focus, unbelievable maturity. Now, her competition when it comes to maturity is a bunch of high school boys. So that being said, you know, that can be a little different, right? So, but at the end of the day, an incredible young lady, incredible athlete, and you know, thank you guys for having us tonight.
Dave, we just touched base on her success that she had to get to the.
Oh yeah. She came out for wrestling last year. It was her first year, and this year she won a district title, the first ever PIAA girls wrestling tournament ever formed was this year, which means you have to go through like sectionals, then districts, then to the state tournament. Well, she won sectionals here at Mechanicsburg, went on to the district tournament, became our first ever district champion in girls wrestling, and went and competed at the state tournament and missed placing by one overtime match. So just had an incredible season, and I think next year she's back again, and looking for a lot of success from her. So a great young lady, and super proud of her, and she's made a huge impact on our team program.
So she's a junior this year?
She's a junior, yeah. She's a junior, and like I said, very driven, and just everything you want as a coach, you know.
Coach, do you have any sense of how many girls you would have in future years? I mean, I know this is just kind of getting off the ground.
Yeah, I you know, me personally, I have not done a great job promoting the girls' side of the girls wrestling for a multitude of reasons. But you know, that being said, just getting started and everything, even you know, me on the boys' side, you know, that takes a lot to have like
Sure.
a girls' team, the boys' team, and we're kind of coaching both. So that being said, it's right now the fastest growing high school sport in the country. And we have a young lady coming up from the junior high who's really successful as well. So the two of them are gonna make a nice group. But the plan is to grow that program, and you know, hopefully get some more girls involved here for the next year or two. So you know, some schools you know, have big teams. Other schools do not. But it's just starting, and you know,
I was going to ask you how many other girls does she have out there to compete against?
So, you know, they go by weight classes, obviously, and I mean, she wrestled 118 this year, and you know, I mean, there was full weight classes. Like when she would go to tournaments that we take her to throughout the season, I mean, she'd wrestle three to four matches a tournament, which is common, and then at the sectionals, districts, and state tournament, I mean, she had a full bracket. So, I mean, it's you know, when you add in all the girls from every school, it does fill the brackets. You know, I think what you're going to see is, you know, it's kind of starting here where the I don't want to say talent, but the knowledge of the sport is minimal with the girls, but that's going to grow, and I mean, it's going to get better and improve, and it really already has. The girls are fantastic to work with. I mean, I'm telling you, like, coachable. They listen, and I mean, just a whole nother element than the guy. I know. I tell people this all the time. I'm like, you know, this young lady is outstanding, and I can't speak highly enough about her and her family for that matter. So, yeah. But,
Is there opportunities, Dave or Seth, like at the intramural level? I know we have pretty young programs for the boys.
yeah, I mean, okay, so at a young age, I mean, there's not a whole lot of difference when you're talking like an 8-year-old girl and boy as far as like strength, maturity.
Right.
So the girls will just come and practice with
with
our rec program, and we do have girls in our program.
Gotcha.
Hopefully.
So there is an opportunity for girls
yeah,
at the younger
absolutely.
ages to start to, right?
Yeah.
Great.
And the girls that in our high school, like they're welcome to come out. They practice in the same room as us, but you know, I mean, we kind of construct that, you know, and manage it with different coaches. But nonetheless, it's something to see. I mean, you know, it's the gyms are packed with, and let me tell you, at a guys wrestling tournament and compared to a girls wrestling tournament, the gyms smell a whole lot better in the girls wrestling tournament than the guys wrestling tournament. It is a distinct difference, you know. But, yeah, it is something. I mean, competitive, and Yeah.
You're gonna get cut off here soon.
At some point, I might remove from the podium.
Before you do that, I just have to say something. You know, I know we're here recognizing Callie, but let's face it, she doesn't have the success she does unless you're willing to step up and offer what you did on an accord that you didn't have to, Coach.
Oh, thank you.
And, well, that's serious. And a very quick story, I was at an athletic event last night for the district, and one of our borough police officers stopped by, a female borough police officer, and specifically asked me about wrestling and said how much she wished that had existed when she went through school. So I'll be the first to be vulnerable and say I wasn't sure about this, and yet you see what is happening on the mat, and it's very impressive from a technique standpoint and competitive standpoint.
It is. And I mean, the value, right? I mean, that's why, you know, we're doing what we're doing is the value after wrestling's over. And, you know, guy, girl, doesn't matter. They're getting the same lessons, the same value. And it's incredible to see. So,
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you for all you've done.
Thank you.
And are
Tell her
doing.
that we're very proud of her.
All right, our next group that we are going to introduce is our boys basketball team, and Coach Mike Gaffey will speak to them.
I usually don't stand behind a podium, so I'm just gonna come talk to you guys. We have two fantastic players from our team here this year tonight that came over from football. The other guys I just talked to today, they have AAU practice and different things going on, and I think that's a credit to our school district and your school district that the players are doing something so actively. So all I remember is my first open gym. I had guys coming in off the football field, taking off their cleats and playing basketball. So our two players here tonight are Isaac Dolman and Owen Whitmer. Probably two of the classier guys that you'll ever meet. They're multiple sport athletes, and I figured I would just have them talk to you about what they experienced this season. And you know, the nice thing is we have them both back next year. We've planned a Christmas tournament that we're going to in Elmira, New York, where you play 3 games and stay in a hotel. They give you a place to practice each day. And it's against national competition. And we have not just these two gentlemen, but a bunch of other talented athletes that we're going to take up there and let them have some exposure on a national level and see how they do. And I guess the best part about it is the camaraderie that the players have when they're done with an event like that, which is probably the best part, you know, in any sport. So Isaac and Owen are going to talk to you. Our staff that's here tonight, we have Coach Joe Ferlizzi that just joined us this year. He helped me at Bishop McDevitt. Coach Patrick Ross has spent with us his second year, and Coach Owens is a staple here in the district. So I wanted to thank those guys for coming tonight. But guys, tell us a little bit about the season this year. We had a lot of fun, and these two were a big part of that.
Yeah, so I'd like to say from the beginning of the season, if you were in that locker room, you knew that we were going to win something big this year. Everyone on the team is very competitive, and we had that spirit in us, and we knew last year we came up a little short than where we wanted, and this year we knew we were going to make it far, and we were looking to win a state chip, but we got district chip, so we're not settled with that, but we're happy that we got that. So one of the big moments of our season was going to the Giant Center. The trip there, the trip back, being in the locker room there was a great experience. It's a once in a lifetime thing. And it was just really fun being with the guys on the court and being able to see what the big show is like and being able to feel like we won big things and just make a difference and have our name stapled in history of Mechanicsburg.
Is it smelly? Like wrestling one?
Not too
Listen,
bad.
we can't top from Coach Hinton. We're gonna have to take second place tonight, but.
And yeah, like Isaac was saying, I remember at the beginning of the year, Coach Gaffey asked all of us what we wanted to accomplish this season. At like the last Open Gym, I remember all of us, or at least the majority of us, all said we wanted to go to the state championship. We wanted to win districts at least, and we accomplished that. And like Isaac said, the environment all season, from the Redland game up to states, up to the Giant Center, was phenomenal. The town showed up, and the coaching staff was very good this year. Very supportive, helped us all out a lot, and yeah, I mean, like the other guys that couldn't be here tonight, they all played hard. We all really, I think, felt we played more as a team this year than we had before, and I think we all sort of came together. The bench energy was amazing. The court energy was amazing, and like Isaac said, after the locker room, it was truly amazing to be in there after the district championship.
Yeah, we're a very tight-knit group. We've been playing at Fisher Park since we were in 3rd grade. We've been on travel teams together since 3rd grade, so we're all very close. After practice, we would all go out to eat. After games, we would all go hang out. We'd think about the game, talk about it. We had some times in our season where we had a little bit of scuffling between our players, and then we would sit down, talk about it, get over the humps, and then it really led us to a very good season.
It's great.
It's something you'll remember forever. Your team.
Absolutely.
So now we know who's playing at 10, 11 o'clock at night at Fisher Park. Since I can see the basketball court right from my window.
Oh,
So, okay, now we know.
Well, congratulations, guys. What a huge accomplishment, and it's a great representation of our school. And you made us proud. Not only obviously winning the way you did, but the way you handled yourselves out there on the court. And you definitely played as a team. I can't wait to see what next year holds now. I think it's going to be really fun to watch.
Thanks for having us. And then I would be remiss if I didn't say that I enjoyed coming to the musical production at the high school this year. I didn't make the middle school one, but the last 2 years, me and my wife have gone out to dinner and come, and so Mechanicsburg is truly a special place, and these are two of the the special student athletes that you have in Mechanicsburg.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach, I just want to say that I've been passionate about the basketball program for a while. Some might say too passionate, easy. I'm just super proud of what you've accomplished. I'm proud of the culture that you've brought to our basketball team. The coaches with you are amazing, all of them. They represent Mechanicsburg incredibly, all you do, and your basketball buddies. The way they just spoke was amazing. So thank you for what you brought, the culture you brought to our school of basketball. It's amazing. And thanks to your assistant coaches, they're all amazing people.
I appreciate, with guys like this, Isaac said they've all been friends forever. I think when you give our coaching staff guys like this that are first-class guys, it doesn't take a whole lot to mold a culture or a belief into their systems. You can sort of tell by the way they talk to you that it's already embraced by someone. And again, those would be parents and then staff members, teachers here at Mechanicsburg School District all have a hand in doing that. So just thanks, and we can't wait till next year either. And at Fisher Park, just if you need my cell number, just give me a call. I'll tell them to knock it off by 11.
Now I know I can't go over and shoot around with them anymore. I'm gonna have to stay away. But thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Guys.
Thank you.
It was interesting. So there are 6 classifications in basketball, and obviously District 3 is made up of Lancaster, York, Berks, Harrisburg area. And 6A champions were Cumberland Valley, and 5A champions were Mechanicsburg, so 5 miles apart, and we had the 2 big classifications. So, yeah, interesting to see. All right, I'm going to have Katie talk to the girls basketball team who won the Keystone Division this year.
I'm Katie Chris. I'm representing the coaching staff. Clay has baseball. Tug is also busy tonight, so I'm the JV coach. I've been with the program for, I think, 9 years now. It's just a testament to Clay and what he has done to this program and these girls. They had a successful season. I believe we were 19-9. Something around that. We were able to make a run in the districts, also make a run in the state playoffs. Really competitive game in our last game against a team out of Philly. But one thing about these girls is it starts in the summer. They are in the gym Mondays and Wednesdays in the morning. We have summer league starting actually next week. The bonding that takes place off of the court with going down to JMU, our team camps, that is where our season really starts. So once we pick up in November, December, these girls are ready to go, and it really just shows how successful we have been throughout the years. This year we had great senior leaders. Avery and Anna were our 2 seniors on and off the court. They took these girls, we were a very young team, under the wings, and it really showed. on the court. Our younger girls really stepped in and were able to contribute in many ways. Our JV team was very, very successful, so the future is bright. And we're really excited to get going next week and see what happens. So Anna and Avery are going to talk a little bit about their senior year and their time with this program.
So obviously, like, our senior year especially was really special. It was just great, like, all 4 years getting to watch, like, our leaders that we had for so long, and then we were definitely nervous, like, stepping into that position, but it was such a great year. I couldn't have asked for more. I'm definitely going to miss a lot of, like, the team bonding, especially, like, the team camps. Those are, like, some of my favorite. And then, like, just all that happens, like, off the court, in the locker rooms before the games, or just, like, even going to, like, Chick-fil-A, or, like, stuff with driving people around. It's really fun, so I'm definitely going to miss that, but cutting down the net especially was really fun. I got to see that a lot when I was little, but I never got to do that, so our senior year especially, that was really awesome.
Yeah, Mechanicsburg basketball honestly has made a difference in I think all of our lives. You know, just being a part of it, like having the community all come together to watch the games, it's honestly super special. I'm gonna miss it a lot. I know that these girls, they're definitely gonna miss it too whenever they are seniors, but I honestly would never regret doing this. I loved it.
Ladies, would you introduce yourself to the board? Just give your first and last name so the board knows who.
Yeah, I'm April McAllister.
I'm Anna McNair.
Tasha Pratt. Lucy Morisani. Mina Nasser. Ella Renzel.
Congratulations on a great year.
So I asked the girls when I was out in the hallway with them, I said, so you were forced to be here tonight? And they said, no, we volunteered to come. And they very sincerely said that. So thank you for volunteering to come here tonight and represent your teammates.
I was just gonna say, look how many of them are you? I mean, like, 1 or 2 over there are the boys' teams, but look at the girls' teams. Very proud of you guys.
It was definitely nice, and I know, like, our starting lineup, a lot of them are, like, involved in their spring sports right now, but it was nice that we could bring our younger crowds.
That's great. Thanks, Coach.
Yep, thank
Great
you.
work.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is that-
I have one other item for the board this evening. As part of our compliance with the grant money that we received from the federal government, I am required to share with you where things are from a health and safety perspective in terms of updates. And here's some really good news. There are no updates. So check, compliance, done. How do we do, Mr. Longwell? Good. Okay, all right. So that concludes my report.
Any questions from Dr. Leidy on his superintendent's report?
I was just gonna, is that the COVID?
That's the ESSER money that we
Yeah.
receive, and so we're required, I think it's twice a year, that we have to provide any updates in order to continue to receive the money.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 3.02, Capital Area Intermediate Unit, Mr. Bradley.
The intermediate unit met on the 25th of April. A couple of things that they covered. They had just held their Champions for Children, I'm sorry, bingo night, and they had a very successful one, and they're planning the golf tournament that's going to come up later in the year. They have handed out $20,500 worth of requests thus far this year, this school year, which is a very high number for them, but it also goes to show that they still, much like our Operation Wildcat, they still have a lot going on to help the needs of those that they serve going forward. They talked about continuing to lobby for, they would call it Ready for School Partnership. It's one of those initiatives for pre-K, since there is no universal pre-K. Much of their funding comes from the United Way to establish the pre-K, so they've been continuing to work and doing some lobbying at the Capitol to get more funding for the pre-K perspective. They hold graduations, much like we'll hold our graduation on the 31st. They hold graduations, but it's in a different scenario. It's smaller. The families come out, and it's in addition to what they might have if someone were to graduate from one of the sponsoring school districts. But it gives them an opportunity to
shine a brighter spotlight on them and to highlight their accomplishments for those that are graduating. So their graduation ceremony is next week. And if I have some time, trying to get up to that. They talked a little bit about PSSAs. As we know, PSSAs are going online. I guess the mandate is 2026 that PSSAs will be online, so they're working to try and figure out how that will impact the requirements that they have from an IU perspective. And then they do a day on the Hill. Also, they go and talk about early intervention and funding. Their day on the Hill was April 30th, so just a couple of weeks ago, where they spent some time on that. And that's my report for this month.
All right, very good. Any questions for Mr. Bradley? Thank you for the report, Mr. Bradley. Item 3.03, Cumberland Perry Area Career and Technical Center Report, Mr. Sanger.
Thank you. The JOC met last on April 22nd, where we had Crabtree discussing the project timeline. We're talking about the renovation project, expansion project. At the end of we have a work session, and then following that we have our voting meeting and presented in the work session, and we approved releasing bids at the voting meeting. So they're out on the street. There's a 6-week window, I think, until they get those back in. There's discussion about, the overall project funding and, what happens if bids come in high, and obviously, some of what was put out were alternates, so we have some flexibility there. There's also, we received after the meeting, we were hoping to receive a safety grant that we had also applied for here, but the CTC got one of the grant fundings for about $400,000, which is great. Their front entrance was already part of the project to be more secure with the lockout kind of entry that it should be standard everywhere. So that'll now be taken out of the project and just paid for through this grant. So that's helpful. So all to say is there's more to come on what the ultimate bid results look like whenever when that period's over with. But hopefully we'll all be within the scope of the project at that point. The rest of the items were more routine. Next week is the CTC's award ceremony, which acts somewhat like graduation, but also students who go to the CTC can still walk in commencement for their home districts. But so it's kind of a combination awards night and a graduation of sorts. That's next Tuesday, and I'll be there. That concludes my report.
Any questions for Mr. Sanger? Thank you for the report, Mr. Sanger. 3.04 Wildcat Foundation report. Mrs. Huff had no report forwarded. She had given an extensive one last meeting and nothing additional for this month. Item 3.05 PSBA legislative report. I have nothing new to report this month. We'll move on to 3.06 Finance Facilities Committee report, Mr. Sanger.
Yes, the Finance and Facilities Committee last met on April 23rd. We had 3 items that are on the voting agenda tonight. That included the food service budget. We heard from Mr. Longwell and Mrs. Marlin regarding that. Next, we heard from Mr. Pratt, Executive Director of Wildcat Foundation, regarding grants. And that's up for approval this evening as well. And the third item were a review of construction change orders, which we have to approve tonight. That concludes my report.
Any questions on the Finance and Facilities Committee report? Thank you, Mr. Sanger. Item 3.07 Board President report. An announcement of an executive session held on April 23rd, 2024 at 6 p.m. to discuss personnel and student matters. Announcement of an executive session held this evening at 6 p.m. to discuss personnel matters. And also appointment of PSBA voting delegates, which I'm actually going to do next month, but I wanted to bring it up this month. As you know, July 1st, we are becoming a Class 2 district as opposed to Class 3. So we actually pick up a third voting spot on the PSBA. That does require you to either attend, or they have zoomed in since COVID, the annual meeting where we vote on the legislative agenda. I mean, I'm willing to serve again. I think Brian is, and we need a third person, so just let me know by next month if anybody wants to. And there's many other things you can do, but that is the one thing that's kind of, and are they still doing, I can't remember, is that generally on a Saturday still, or they've changed the formula multiple times?
They
so.
moved it to a Saturday when they made it virtual, so it's, a morning.
Yeah, in some years they've held it out at the PSBA headquarters so you can go, so. But it's just something, if somebody wants to see someone involved, we will need a third person on that for next month. So. And I'll let Julie know also that she will also maybe volunteers. So with that, we'll move on to item 4, new business, athletics, recreation, item 4.01, Dr. Lebo.
I ask the board to approve the appointment of recreation staff for seasonal recreation programs.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
I'll abstain from that vote due to a conflict of interest.
On to item 6, new business, budget and finance. Item 6.01, treasurer's report, Ms. Morgan.
I'd like to ask the board to approve the treasurer's report as per the attachments, which include the following. Number 1 is the treasurer's report for April 2024. Number 2 is the board budget report for April 2024. Number 3 is the general fund invoices paid April 10th through May 13th with check numbers 68238 through 68446 in the amount of $3,694,347.15. Number 4 is the electronic payments in the amount of $4,346,276.31. Number 5 is the general fund payable invoices payable check number 68447 through 68465 in the amount of $785,858. Number 6 is the capital reserve fund invoices paid check number 1902 through 1908 in the amount of $41,631.77. Number 7 is the series of 2023 construction fund invoices paid check number 198 through 209 in the amount of $1,210,324.73. And lastly, number 8 is the investment portfolio.
We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion on the treasurer's report? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 6.02, Ms. Morgan.
I'd like to ask the board to approve the transportation service contract as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 6.03, Ms. Morgan.
I'd like to ask the board to accept the Wildcat Foundation grants as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
6.04, Ms. Morgan.
I'd like to ask the board to authorize the administration and public financial management to proceed with the next borrowing outlined in the district's current financing plan.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 6.05, Ms. Morgan.
I'd like to ask the board to approve the district depositories for 2024 through 2025 as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
6.06, Mr. Longwell. Ms. Morgan.
I'd like to ask the board to appoint Bobby Eli, Assistant Business Manager Controller, as the South Central Trust Representative for the 2024 through 2025, with Mr. Greg Longwell, Director of Business Operations, CFO, serving as the alternative.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Now, Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 6.07, Ms. Morgan.
I'd like to ask the board to appoint Bobby Eli, Assistant Business Manager Controller, as the district's representative to the Cumberland County Tax Bureau, with Greg Longwell, Director of Business Operations, CFO, serving as the alternate.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 6.08, Ms. Morgan.
I'd like to ask the board to appoint Bobby Eli, Assistant Business Manager Controller, as Board Treasurer.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Good day to Mrs. Ely. That's
Yes.
all.
Did he not show up to some meetings or something like that?
No, just I would like to thank Tracy for her many years of being board treasurer, but as the growth of our district, as we have moved from a class 3 to a class 2 district, we are no longer allowed to have one of the 9 of us is not allowed to be board treasurer. It has to be a third party who's not a voting member of the board. And the business office offered that name up as to replace her as treasurer. So,
Mr.
thank you for
Rob-
many years of a job well done.
At our last meeting, and I didn't want to offend Ms. Morgan, but at our last meeting, we asked whether that was required, that all those be read. Somebody's going to check into that. If that could be handled like the minutes, it's just my question.
Yes, actually it was. Mr. Longwell, if you'd like to, or Dr. Liney.
Yeah, I think that we did look into it, and the bottom line is no, it's not required. But historically, we have done that. And so we went back and we looked at, well, why is that? And I think we're all kind of landing on this. There's a transparency to that. At the end of the day, it takes maybe 3 minutes, but there's a transparency to our public and to our taxpayers that we take it very seriously, and the level of detail associated with it. So our recommendation administratively would be that we maintain that. But the bottom line is it's not required.
That's fine. That's a good answer. I'm all for transparency.
And for those of you that might not know it, Friday before this meeting, I dropped off this huge bag of invoices that I spend 2-3 hours going through and double checking, that everything's up and up. So I feel like that's another thing that we should continue doing, so that somebody here has a set of eyes on all the invoices we're paying.
That one of us, and Tracy is our budget and finance contact, so if we choose to continue that, if that's the recommendation coming from the business office, she will still do that.
Yeah.
It does put that in front of one of us, an elected person gets to actually look at the data, prior to the meetings. I believe in transparency. I think it's great. All right, any further discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 6.09, Ms. Morgan.
I'd like to ask the board to approve the 2024-2025 food service budget, which includes a 10-cent increase in meal prices.
Do we have a second? Further discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 7, new business, curriculum. Item 7.01, Mr. Bradley.
I'd ask the board to approve the social studies curriculum maps as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
A lot of maps.
Tremendous amount of work.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to commend the department.
Yes.
For the vertical integration especially. He was on with her.
Yeah, as always, I mean, what they proposed us is phenomenal. I mean, it's a lot of work's put into this stuff.
Yeah.
It's one of the big reasons why we're what we are, academically. Any other discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 7.02, Mr. Bradley.
I'd ask the board to approve the art curriculum maps as presented.
Do we have a
Second.
Second.
any further discussion other than everything?
Recommendations again.
Yes. Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 7.03, Mr. Bradley.
I'd ask the board to approve the settlement and release agreement pertaining to a special education matter.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 7.04. Mr. Bradley.
I'd ask the board to approve the student services contract as per the attachment.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 8.0. Moving on to item 8, new business facilities, 8.01. Mr. Sanger.
I make a motion to approve the construction change orders as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 8.02. Mr. Sanger.
I make a motion to approve the attached resolution in support of the public school facility improvement grant.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 9, new business, personnel. Item 9.01. Mr. Bradley.
I'd ask the board to approve the personnel report as per the attachments.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
It just looks like there's a whole lot of people being hired for next year already, so it's phenomenal that, this early in the year. So that's impressive.
From
Thank you.
literally across the country.
Yes, several of them.
Yeah, some homegrown ones,
Yeah,
which is great.
Any other comments, discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 9.02. Mr. Bradley.
I'd ask the board to approve the teacher leader salary matrix.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 9.03. Mr. Bradley.
I'd ask the board to approve the job description for the position of assistant superintendent.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 10, new business, policy. Item 10.01. Mr. Frangel.
I'd ask the board to adopt the agreement waiver of hearing before the board of directors between parent, student, and the board, and the terms and conditions set forth therein, direct the superintendent to place said agreement in students' education records, authorize the superintendent to act on behalf of the board in implementing the agreement, and order the expulsion of the following student. Student F of 2023-2024, beginning April 16, 2024, for 1 calendar year. Student G of 2023-2024, beginning April 16, 2024, for 1 calendar year.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Say it every time. I hate this part of our job, but I'm proud of this district for how it handles these situations. We're all up here for the complete opposite of this, and we're here to educate students, but I think our mission is always comes through because we always have the student's best, interest in mind. So I always say that every time. I just feel like I have to, but I'm proud of the district and how they handle these situations.
Kudos to our administrative team, because they really do go out to make sure that they don't really look at other angles. They look to make sure the student's getting the best that they can get for the situation.
Indeed.
Mr. Longwell.
Unless I hear a negative response, I'll record the roll call as a unanimous vote.
Item 12, hearing of visitors. We have reached the second opportunity for public comment. This opportunity is reserved for comments on issues not listed on the agenda and not being voted upon this evening. As a reminder, public comment is limited to residents of the school district. Public comment will be limited to 3 minutes per individual and requires community members to observe a reasonable decorum. If you'd like to address the board, please go up to the podium and share your name and the municipality in which you reside. This is for items that were not on the agenda tonight. Seeing none. Item 13. Ms. Morgan.
I'd like to ask,
Oh, no, he's.
No. I would like to ask the board to adjourn.
Do we have a second? Second. Meeting is adjourned.
That we